it's always fascinated me, the speaking industry. I mean, we've seen it evolve over the years, and yet we've also picked up the speakers who have done well and the speakers who have tried their best and had a small career but it hasn't gone on. And yet the right questions have not been asked by people. And I've always wondered, is that because they don't know the questions, or is that because the marketplace, the industry, isn't open enough to everyone to discuss this whole thing?
It's always really fascinating to me. You know, you see so many people come into the industry, and there are the ones that make it, that build a sustainable business out of it, that do multiple bookings, grow year after year, and there are the ones that have, from our perspective, that have incredible ideas, incredible content, incredible credibility, and yet they fall by the wayside. And it's so frustrating watching from the outside, right? Going, you could have been, like, you have everything it takes to be an incredible speaker in this industry.
And it's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge to get those speakers to a point where they are ready to succeed in the market, and they do succeed in the market. It's that there's a lot of learning, I think, to be done, but I think each and every speaker that we come across has the capacity to do it. Sometimes it's just nudging them along the way to get them to that point, but a good speaker can do it. But as I say, it sometimes needs that push, that extra bit of incentive to get them to the point that they need to be at.
But is that because they don't understand what they're doing when they enter the market, and they don't understand almost the industry they're in? Or is that because it's fallen on their laps too easily?
I think it's because they don't know what to do in the market. I think it's a market that has grown exponentially over the past kind of 10 to 15 years. People have seen that from a commercial perspective, there is a lot of money in it. And in some instances, they've landed on their feet. They've got a speaking engagement, they've got another speaking engagement, the momentum has started going for them, but they haven't had that opportunity to take a step back and think, how do I maintain this as a career? What do I need to do? What are the essential points to make sure that in 5, 10, 15 years time, I'm still a successful speaker and people are still interested in booking me to speak at their events?
Well, how do you create a business out of it?
Yeah.
There's a difference, right, between showing up every once in a while and doing it and taking the ones when you get invited. And it's a whole different ballgame, building a sustainable business and then layering on top of, okay, I am a professional speaker, this is what I do as a business. On top of that, I also have programs that are available that earn money while I sleep. On top of that, I also have, a book and a platform, and then keeping that going to the next level and the next level and keeping it fresh. That's a whole different thing.
And then this is what excites me. It's you can get there as a speaker. You can get there, and good luck to you. But what we're trying to do here, and why I'm so keen for us to do it, is we can help you 10x it. We can help you
in half the time.
In half the time, because it's not rocket science, but it's understanding the questions you should be asking. It's understanding the work you need to do.
Yep.
It's not. It doesn't fall in a lap.
But I remember 20 years ago. I mean, I think you and I probably met 20 years.
Yeah,
20 years ago.
Let's not talk about that too much.
Yeah, probably. Let's not go too far back. But I mean, I remember 20 years ago, and Michael, you were the same as a speaker manager when I was first starting out in the industry, and I was like, okay, my job is to launch and advise speakers, both, at that point I was living in Australia, but also globally in global markets, and stepping back and going, like, okay, how do I even start this? There's no roadmap here. 20 years ago, there's no roadmap. You had to figure out what worked the hard way by getting it wrong, falling over, getting back up. And I think for me, you spoke about your passion about why you want to do this, why you're doing this. I think for me, it's taking 20 years of knowledge and experience and getting it wrong and then figuring it out. And for you as well, Michael, to be able to go, all right, now I've got a helicopter view of what works. Let's decode this into a journey that we can walk you through. Yeah. Don't go that way, go that way. Do this now, and it's going to shave a year off if you can get it right.
And I think it's bringing the professionalism and maturity to the market that the TV industry or the radio or the literary world has seen, for ever and a day. Those are very mature industries where people go into, they know exactly what they need to do, they know exactly the pathway that they need to go down. The live event space, the speaking industry, is moving in that direction. I think it's something that Future Voices can really bring to speakers. It's that understanding of a market, and a market that is ready to mature and develop.
You know what I love about that is the fact that you're going to enjoy being asked questions which are going to challenge you. You're going to enjoy not having the answers, but at least know the direction you're going in. You're going to enjoy the fact that you're alongside other people who are taking the same journey. And so suddenly there's a community of you, because kind of, as a speaker is lonely.
Yeah.
And as a speaker bureau who over the years have booked kind of £250 million worth of talent, kind of whatever it is, we sit there and we just can watch on. And therefore, let's give you the chance to actually tap into that for a long, sustained period of time.
And to me, the community thing is so important. You know, that across the number of speakers that I manage exclusively, one of the things that we often get, or people often say to me, is that I want to meet other speakers. Yeah, I may talk to someone for 5 or 10 minutes before I go up on stage at a large conference where there are other speakers speaking. I don't really get to engage with other speakers. I want to know what they're doing, what's interesting, what events they're speaking at, share kind of the good stories and the horrific stories of where things have gone right or things have gone wrong. And I think community is key to this industry, because it is, as I say, you know, a lot of it is spent with speakers spending time on their own and questioning themselves and the content that they deliver alongside someone like me as a speaker manager. But there's also a huge amount you can get from other people who are doing the same thing as you, albeit their content may be different.
But who understands your world?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the speakers that I work with and talk to, you know, some of them are doing 7 figures, and the conversation is always the same. It's, you know, this is such a unique journey. This is such a unique world. This is such a unique business strategy that I can't have this conversation with my friends. I can't have this conversation with my family. Nobody has a clue what I do. Nobody can make head nor tail of it. And I'm kind of out here on my own. And I think for me, you know, you can join a mastermind for leadership. You can join an association, you know, if you're a doctor or a dentist. There is nothing. And the options that there are for professional speakers for me, they're based on strategies that worked a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And whereas you are at the forefront of what's working now, talking to clients all day, every day. What are they asking for? What marketing materials actually get cut through versus those that get left to the side? How do speakers launch in a way where you're going to get bookings? Because as an agent and as a bureau and as someone who launches and advises, you know, we're only interested in what works.
Yes.
Because, you know, we have bills to pay, we have, you know, money that needs to be made, we're running businesses here. And I think for me, you know, if you can go to a day's event or you can join something like an association, like a community, if you pick up 2 or 3 things that you actually apply, if you ignore, you know, 8/10 of the day or 8/10 of the program, you pick up 2 or 3 things, that can shave years off your journey. It can make you tens of thousands of pounds worth of bookings just by going, I'll take that one.
And I think that's our challenge. Our biggest challenge in our roles is we don't understand our value. Like, we have the same conversations again and again, and I watch speakers as you say something, and it's a complete switch for them because they've never thought about it. And this is what comes naturally to us because we're living and breathing the whole thing, and we're current in the industry, and that currency is everything.
And I think it's what's, you know, it's funny how kind of, you know, the scope of Future Voices is so similar to a speaking engagement insofar as what do we say to speakers that we work with? You know, they're speaking at an event. The attendees are not going to go home with kind of 40 to 45 minutes of being able to remember every single piece of content that has been delivered. They're going to go away with, you know, the 2, 3, 4 specific points that they can then take into their day-to-day work or their day-to-day lives. And it's the same with, you know, learning about becoming a speaker. What is relevant to the speaker marketplace? It's those 2 to 3 to 4 things that they can leave a day of training and understanding what they need to do next. And also when you add into that, you kind of, the community, it's an ongoing process that you can learn from.
I love that word ongoing as well, because I think, you know, if you look at the thing that makes the biggest difference for me in a speaker's career is figuring out what unique space do you want to own. What's your signature space that only you can own? What's your signature keynote that is so good that every time you do it creates 2 or 3 more bookings? Because that's going to make you friends with bureaus. That's going to make you a lot of friends if you are that good. And then, and probably the most important thing for me, off the stage, what are the things that you are doing consistently, month in, month out, as a strategy that keeps you growing and keeps your pipeline full, so that you don't end up in the position that a lot of speakers find themselves in, especially in this market, where suddenly they've had a bonanza 6 months. It's been going crazy, and then it just drops off, and suddenly you're faced with an empty pipeline for the next 6 months. And the reason for that is because you weren't doing the strategies consistently month after month that would prevent that.
And it goes back to that kind of idea of the longevity of a speaking career. It shouldn't just be for a year, 2 years, let's make as much money as I can within that period. It's thinking, what can I be doing at specific points within my speaking career, specific points within my speaking career to ensure that I maintain relevance. That when it comes to, we all talk about the bureaus are a brilliant market for where inquiries and jobs come from. But you also have to, even if you are well established with a bureau, you have to maintain that relevance with them. You have to maintain that position with them, and just churning out the same stuff over and over again doesn't necessarily work long term.
And that's with Future Voices. It's turning this moment that you've got, this ability to speak, this idea, this concept, into something which gives you a career. It puts in place a strategy. It puts in place the concepts. It asks the right questions. It gives you ideas, and it helps you solve the answers.
Well, it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap that we all wish we had when we were starting out.
Yeah.
And it's a roadmap that once you have it, you can rapidly increase your pace.
Yeah.
And also, and again, going back to something that we've talked about before, it means that those were the best ideas. Because you meet so many people who've got incredible ideas and incredible expertise. It means that those with the best ideas can get them heard. Those with the best ideas can be the ones on the stages.
Yeah.
It elevates those who deserve to be elevated.
Yeah.
And keeps them there.
Yeah.